How much experience do you have in games?
I didn't really start playing games until 2018. So I've only been playing games for 2 years. Sorry.
Oh, it is very true.
I feel like it's been longer because I've recently got into. I think because of a bad friendship I had, I spent more time with you, but also like I had a lot of downtime to myself, so I could play games by myself.
6 probably.
6
About like
years.
15 years, yeah.
15 years?
About
I
15
thought you were
years.
gonna say 6, bro.
No, I was like 6 when my first time ever seeing a video game was when I lived in Colorado. I was like 4 or 5 at like a babysitter's house, and she had older sons that had like the latest Spider-Man. It was like Spider-Man 2, dude. Like the super yeah.
Pizza Spider-Man.
Yeah. And like, so that was my first experience ever of seeing a video game.
I grew up playing video games, but I'm not a huge gamer in terms of like, I at least probably play an hour or 2 a week.
Since I was 6.
Holy sh**. That's a long time.
Experience, I'll say I have a little bit. I have a little bit of experience. Or I have like a handful of years of experience. I'm not like good enough to be like a pro gamer, but it's enough to where like I can get into more into a bit more like, I don't know how you put it, I guess just more like high-paced, more fast-paced games.
Game. Well, when you asked that, first thought in my head was Half-Life. Now, that's kind of... It's a 50-50. 50% because that game is a huge part of my personal life. Because my stepdad was, like, involved with that stuff, and he showed me, like, all the Valve games around that time. Like, I almost considered getting a lambda, like, tattooed on me, but I was like, if I do that, I'm doing it right. I'm not just slapping that bitch on there. So, but long story short, my stepdad, from what he told me, I don't really know all the stuff. I wasn't big into the PC crowd during that time. From what he told me, he ran the longest running Half-Life clan in the world. If it was still going, which unfortunately it's not anymore, it'd be as old as me right now. So, I don't know if you ever played like the original Half-Life.
No.
The original Half-Life, believe it or not, had an online multiplayer.
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
Like
I think I tried the multiplayer. I think it was like a free demo or something.
There was a time where that was like.
Yeah, it was the thing. Yeah.
And another game definitely is Halo. Probably for me, I would say Reach over 3. A lot of people I know are definitely going to be all Halo 3 best Halo, which like hands down, it's an amazing game. But for me, Reach has like that special place because 1, I did a lot more things on Reach, especially online, than I did on 3. I didn't have Xbox Live when 3 came out. I just had the campaign.
I always heard the Halo Reach was way better, or the online portion was way better than 3, just from the amount
In
of
my
like,
opinion,
support.
I agree. I didn't play during the golden age of Halo 3 online, where, you know, you'd see that guy with the Hayabusa armor or whatever it's called, and you're like, you're a legend. You're a god among men. And nowadays, if you see, you're like, oh, you like just bought it, or you know, you just played a lot. It's not like you did something wild.
Currently, my favorite game is Animal Crossing because there's not much that I have to do. Like, I'm working towards a goal of like having KK Slider on my island. However, it's whenever I want to complete that goal. Plus, it's just like It's just like playing Barbies, except for like on the computer now. And like cooler characters. So yeah, that's my favorite game.
The game I played most recently that I enjoyed the most was Horizon Zero Dawn. I really liked the whole premise of the game, and I liked how it kind of alluded to a bigger story as you went through, until it gave you all the pieces and like really brought together the whole plot, and kind of made a lot of sense as to why you were doing what you were doing and when you were doing it, you know?
Okay.
I'm super into adventure and learning about your environment as you go. So seeing that in a game and like having to look through your environment or seeing how certain decisions have impacted the environment, and like seeing that kind of through a rapid lens, like again you're going through years and years in the game pretty quickly, versus in real life you have to really take it day by day. So I like the fact that you can see the progression. You can see like, so in Horizon Zero Dawn you basically utilize robots at some point. At first they're just kind of like mindlessly killing people, but then you begin to utilize them for the benefit of people and use them to benefit the environment and stuff like that. And seeing that transition is really like, I wonder what we do in our lives in like on Earth that right now might seem as like a negative, like the robots in that game were a negative. But how can we make those into positives? How can we change our trajectory with it? And how can we learn from it and like use it to better ourselves? And I really like seeing that in a game because I can equate it to real life.
What's your favorite game?
Vietnam. I would probably say the Need for Speed franchise.
Is there a specific Need for Speed that you most enjoyed, or no? Why Need for Speed? Out of all the gamers I've questioned, you're the first person to say any sort of driving game.
Because I like cars and racing.
That's a hard one. Personally, I don't have like an all-time favorite, but I can say like favorites of genres. And like, I guess if you talk about recently, I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem. I've been playing Three Houses, and I've actually been playing Fire Emblem Warriors, which I actually like the way that it does, I guess, a mix of hack and slash and strategy all in one thing, which it's technically a little bit better than like the Empires games that they had, which were kind of like, or at least that Koei Tecmo had. If you were to talk about, I guess, character action and stuff, obviously like Devil May Cry. More in particular, it's a split between DMC3 and DMC4, as I really like those games a lot, and they're kind of like this nice balance of being like easy enough to pick up, but also like having a high enough skill gap to where it's like you can get into it pretty in depth. Fighting games, that's I think the hardest one.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah, because back then when I started, it was like bigger on multiplayer online. Other than COD and all that.
Okay. Did I word that right?
I
Not
think
really.
you did, but I think it's stemming from your own experience with games, whereas I feel like I've already connected with people. Like, I didn't necessarily need a video game to enhance that for me. However, if we're talking about storytelling, I mean, The Last of Us.
Okay.
The Last of Us really just tugs at your emotions, and The Last of Us 2 really tugs at your emotions. I forgot what I was going to say, but I guess kind of what you were saying, and I guess what The Last of Us 2 tries to allude to. It tries to make you see the story from a certain perspective, and sometimes people just have to understand video games might not do that for people. And we see that a lot in the Last of Us 2 reviews. And I mean, me too. I mean, I can see it from a different perspective, and like that's nice, but I don't feel like a video game has ever enhanced how I connect with people. I think it's, I lie, I take that back. I think it's enhanced how I connect with people in terms of like games have connected us, like in our friends. But like on a deeper emotional level, I've never had a game enhance my level of connection with people. I'm an empath. People just randomly come to me, however. But in terms of like playing with, I was gonna say humans, friends, like now, I don't know when it started, but for a while, we would just invite friends to play Uno. And then it kind of turned into like a weekly thing, or at least a weekly, like sometimes a weekly thing. And so like, it's nice. It's actually really bonded us as a friend group. And I feel like we're all a lot closer. And we don't always just play Uno, we play different games. Our current game is Throw Burrito. Exciting.
As much as I'm trying to think about, I can't deny, dude, the destiny is there. Like, I'm really trying to look around everything else. I really am, but I can't deny that, dude. And it's funny because it's made by the same people that made Halo.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, trash game, just grinding, blah, blah, blah. I can't deny it, though, dude. I've met so many people in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like, I don't know, man. I haven't been able to get that level of socializing in a game other than maybe Minecraft, honestly.
That's
that was
unexpected.
That's only because I played Minecraft multiplayer on a server. Like before I was really into like Xbox Live, hardcore and all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like getting on like a Minecraft server, knowing people that like know me, having like that little community and like helping the mods out and like getting assigned roles.
Mhm.
And I ended up leaving because there was this big old building competition for like a PvP CTF map. And it was like, yeah, whoever wants to do it, like, just go make the map, and if people like it, cool. I had like a really short amount of time because I found out about it like really late.
Mm-hmm.
So what I ended up using was, I can't remember what it's called, but basically it's like it's not like the legit way. It's like with like computer shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like hit one block, and then I'd go to like the other side of what I'm trying to do and hit that other block. And all the blocks in between get like placed with that one block.
Fuck, I forget what the
You know what I'm
tool is.
talking
Yeah, it's
So I basically did like a lot of that, because instead of like placing each individual block, wasting time because I'm like, I have a deadline and I want to get this done. And my idea was like pretty big, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else is helping me. It's just me.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up doing it. I had like a couple people help me here and there, but you know, it's your project, so you do you.
Mm-hmm.
I did it and I was pretty proud of it. I really wish I took like a little video or like a screenshot, because it's gone forever now. I'll never see it again.
So one game that actually really helped me meet new people was Super Smash Bros.
Hmm.
For as weird as that sounds, because the college I went to, they would have game tournaments, and you could just go and like play with strangers, and that was one of the ways I really enjoyed meeting people, and because I would just like, you know, fight against them and then like call it good, and then you could go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game that I've liked most for building a stronger connection with people I already knew was the Jackbox 6. Jackbox 6. Super fun for like social interaction, because you really do have to like watch the other people and kind of read their body language, read their facial cues, and you get to actually learn a lot about the people that you're with that you might not have known otherwise, especially depending on the game that's inside of the Jackbox, since they have like 6 or 7 games that you can choose from.
Yeah, I've gotten connected. Like, I've at least been following like the Fire Emblem community because of that, and actually where that started was just with like it really kind of started with Fire Emblem Heroes, and then I was like, oh hey, these characters are really cool. Decided to look them up, and yeah, no, like the games that they come from are very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, like I got into like the content community of Fire Emblem, and I guess I didn't like so much with like other games as much as I have with Fire Emblem as a whole, just because there haven't been as great or as interesting communities to be in as Fire Emblem. And I've dabbled with games like Sonic, and I've looked at some of the some of like content creators on YouTube who do like videos on Sonic games, and it hasn't really gotten my attention as much as like Fire Emblem.
I would probably say Astroneer.
Astroneer? Huh. Okay. Why? Why does that game appeal your eye?
Just like outer space and the universe. You know, that connects. It's just you don't know what's out there. And once
So,
you
like-
have an idea of what might be out there, you're like,
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
What is it? The first one.
Ori and the Blind Forest.
That's it.
Yeah.
I just started, like, I checked it out, because, like, I want to beat it, but, like, I just never really, I got stuck at a point where I'm like, I don't know where the fuck to go.
Mm.
But I finally played it again, and I found that thing that I was like, that's where I need to go. So I finally found it. That's where I was playing it last night when I started playing with you.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm playing, I'm like, yeah, this is actually really nice. I forgot, like, it's like not, obviously it's not a shooter. It's like so chill. The music's really nice. The game looks gorgeous, especially on like the monitor and all. Like,
The most.
I've never played it, but
Okay.
one game that I really enjoyed watching was Ori and the Blind Forest. That had some of the most beautiful graphics and art styles I've seen, because it looked really like from a fantasy genre type of perspective, with a lot of darker backgrounds, with a lot of lighter forefronts, and like I don't know, it was just beautiful. Like it's drawn so nice.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's gonna be The Last of Us, because I didn't know many video games before I moved in with you, and just the Naughty Dog games in general. Uncharted 4 was such a beautiful game because it was like Indiana Jones. It's looking at undiscovered parts of the world. It was beautiful. It almost showed, like, I don't know how to explain it. It almost showed, I want to say like the overgrowth, but like that's what The Last of Us is. That Last of Us is like overgrowth and like how people aren't functioning, like society isn't functioning the same, so we're not using, or in the game, like they're not using like so many carbon emissions, like nature is really taking over. I don't know. Uncharted 4 is just beautiful in like puzzle ways. You know, in Uncharted 4, it's like because of the puzzles you're doing and because of the treasures you can find, it's almost like you purposefully look more at the surroundings than you do, like, because it's an exploring game and you want to find the treasure, so you look more at the surroundings rather than just going about your way. And some people
So I'll go off kind of on a bit of a tangent here, but I'm personally kind of in the bias that honestly it like the graphics really don't matter to me. As long as like the game works, it's good, you know? Honestly, you could have like 10 million or 10 polygons and it really doesn't make a difference for me. But aesthetically, I'm kind of torn between Okami and I think either Fire Emblem Three Houses or Berserk and the Nighthawk, because those ones, they're kind of like cel shaded, but I guess with Okami, what brings me into that game is just the way that it does cel shading. It does it quite heavily, but it's in such a way that it's supposed to like take inspiration from like Japanese paintings. And sometimes it does come off, like sometimes occasionally it comes off as a little like goofy, but that's okay. And then there's like the like little drawings here and there that add even more to the art stuff. And then with like Berserk and Metalhawk and Fire Emblem, they kind of both use like a similar, I think they use like a similar cell shading technique where it's very subtle actually, where it's like the models are kind of there, but then there's like some very subtle outlining on the models. And I always found that to be really cool, like especially when I played Berserk and Metalhawk, where it's just like you wouldn't really notice it as much like when you're playing the game, but then like when you like trigger like a Muso attack, and then you get like the up close of them, like you start to actually see like the cell shading. And then again with those like the the anime style drawn FMVs. I think with character action, I kind of like the style meter. I kind of like how that works in games like, say, Devil May Cry, as it kind of gives you this, I guess, like spur of the moment, like, I guess, critique on how you're doing in combat. And it just tells you, like, oh, you could, you know, that maybe, like, if you're doing like a combo, or at least, like, a style, or at least the way that Devil May Cry does it, with, like, a style meter, almost. That actually helps, like, to tell you, like, in the moment, you know, hey, you know, maybe this isn't working too well, so do this, that, the other. And I guess, like, with tactical strategy, I guess one that I like is, that's actually, I guess with those, I guess it's just, I guess permadeath would be kind of interesting, or at least it's interesting from a story perspective, especially. And this is kind of like what made Fire Emblem, especially back when it came out on the NES with Fire Emblem, Dark Dragon, and the Sword of Light. That's what made the game really like far ahead of its time, is because basically if you lose a unit, they're gone forever. And I think even the story changes to like allude to the fact that, you know, this character has died, and it's really ahead of its time. And then it also makes you think, it makes you think much more cautiously about your actions. It makes you think about like what moves to take so that you don't lose your characters, like on that end. But then there's also another end where it's like some characters are kind of like it all depends on the RNG as to how well they get, and sometimes the RNG kind of just screws them over, and sometimes it might actually not be a bad thing to kill a unit, which is why like permadeath in those games, in like the early games, actually mattered.
Batman.
Okay. Completely different jump.
Batman, when you glide and you have to push the buttons, or like, oh, so I should clarify, Batman Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
Arkham Knight.
The fancy one, right?
The fancy one. Well, there's a lot of mechanics I like in that game, actually. So I'm not one for playing video games that have like a lot of weapons and stuff, because I find it very confusing. I'm not one that plays video games. But playing Batman, the menu it had, like I don't know what it's actually called.
The gadget wheel?
The gadget wheel. That was actually easy to, you know, figure out and get used to. However, my most favorite mechanic, I think, is just purely because of the vibration in the controller, is when you glide, when you grapple onto something and you boost yourself and you just really take off. I think that's my favorite, because then you're also just like, it just feels so free, I guess, in the game, because you can go in so many different directions and it feels like you're not going that much, but you're actually traveling a pretty large distance. Plus it makes you faster, and I'm not a very fast person in video games.
Favorite
Game mechanic.
Titanfall wall running, bro. Like, if you want to simplify it and like not overthink it, hands down. There's a reason Call of Duty 3 games. Like, how else am I gonna put it?
Mhm.
We still enjoy it to this day.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
true.
like, even I showed my, like I was telling you, I showed my roommate. He like, it was great watching him do the gauntlet, running on all the paths, going up the stairs and all that, like doing like how a normal like soldier would. Kind of thing. And then like, let me show you this shit.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, bro, and like doesn't touch the ground like once. Like the
Mhm.
only time it touches the ground is to slide under that freaking thing.
That- yeah,
you
that's
have to
smart.
get
Yeah.
under. Don't touch the ground like anywhere else, and he's just there like. It's fun as hell for me, dude. Like, I'm just there. Like, he's looking at me like, how? I'm just playing the game. Like, I just know how to do it.
It's just flows.
Yeah, you just flow. Yeah, and that level of simplicity, that level of fun, is really difficult to get.
Okay,
Or do the dash. or
so
whatever.
in Horizon Zero Dawn, the
Mhm.
climbing function in that game, and like you having to like look for the hold and then like indicate that you want to go that way. That was my favorite like game mechanic that I've used. But I've what's that one parkour one? You know what it is? Well, there's a parkour game.
Okay.
It's really popular.
Parkour. Assassin's Creed?
No,
No.
that would have been funny if I'd forgotten Assassin's Creed. I do like the climbing function in Assassin's Creed though.
Mhm.
Similar, but not quite the same as Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't remember what the.
Trying to think.
what's-
Like, is it
It's one that you recommended to me.
really?
Yeah.
What the? Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge.
What? I actually remembered.
I don't know why I forgot it, but Mirror's Edge. The little bits of gameplay that I've seen, it looks. I feel like I'd really like the mechanic of the climbing and just like the jumping and stuff. in
Just the
general.
whole
just like the
movements-
whole
movement set.
movement set. Yeah, I feel like it'd be really clean.
I would probably say how you would have to learn the individual patterns for every gun in Counter-Strike.
Oh, okay. Spray patterns.
Spray patterns.
Why? Why did that come to your mind?
It's just the difficulty of having to memorize, and not just memorizing, but actually being able to perform it.
Mm-hmm. Take skill and
Yeah.
challenge. Okay.
Yeah, I think games can be art. I think they can be artistic in that they teach people different things, whether it is to be more creative or. I think that's what it is. I think games can be artistic because they enable creativity in people, whether it's creativity in literal creativity and like how they're drawing or painting or the music that they're into or photography, or it can be bring out the creativeness in people and how they problem solve. I just think for me that's a big thing. People always want to say, oh, I'm so creative, and I'm so quick to turn it down because I don't have like an artistic side like everyone else, but I am creative in how, and sometimes how I solve problems, and that's art. It's art in its own way.
Do you think games can be art? Without a question, they are. That's
Why so?
Why?
Elaborate.
Why can games be art? That's like asking why a picture can be art. You know, games have screenshots. Those are pictures. That's art.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me it's not art? That's not art then. You know, like, dude, like, seriously, it's like. It's. If anything, it's probably like one of the most. If not the most advanced form of art.
I think games are art. Art is just a expression from a person. Music's art, paintings are art, drawings are art, even dance is art. So the fact that you're bringing something new into this world that hasn't existed before, the act of creating something, that's what art is. It doesn't have to be pretty. It can be some of the crappiest art you've ever seen, but it's still art. And I think games are a beautiful form of art that lets you interact in a way that other art forms don't necessarily let you interact. Because obviously, like, if someone, like, if you went to like an art museum and you tried like doing a collaborative coloring in of like a black and white piece that was masterfully constructed, they would probably kick you out of that art museum. But with games, it's such a different dynamic of I've created this expression of myself and this expression of my team, and we've worked really hard on this, and we hope you enjoy it. We hope you get to interact with it in a way that benefits you in some way or another. Whether that's stress relief or learning something new. Like Portal 2, amazing game, because artfully constructed, so much art went into it, just in general, like putting that story together and leaving little clues along the way for underlying story. And yeah, you could choose to play the game just without really looking for anything extra, or you could be one of the people who's really trying to do a deep dive into the game and really try to comprehend what the creators were trying to share their vision, like share their vision to find, or share their vision to understand. So yeah, I totally think games are art.
Yeah, I do.
How so?
Well, the creators can do whatever they want and basically put what they have in ideas and draw them out. And someone who plays it can also see where those ideas might be coming from.
Expression.
An expression.
I think they can, and I think, yeah, it can be, and I think it kind of, it really depends. I think with where like the gaming industry is going, it kind of feels like they're trying to find like a mid ground between them, and I think that it could work, but it's not always the best solution. And I think if you're actively trying to make something that's artistic, go for that direction. But if you want to make something that's strictly a game, go do that, you know? And I think like there are ways that it can be done where it's like, I think just from like, just with like the way things are going now, I just kind of find that it's kind of an odd compromise. But I think like if you kind of go like in a, like, you know, like if you want to make like your story art or something, like that's fine. Or like, I don't know, I guess the thing like for me that's always mattered is just, of course, it working. So I can't really say too much on the subject, but I think they definitely can be art. And I think it's just a matter of making sure that it kind of works as a game, and it's, you know, just making sure that it works and that it works well, at least.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you, sir. That was literally it. Those were all the questions. Would you like to say something else?
I need to think about this for a sec.
Pokemon.
Which one? You better say Ruby, or I'm actually gonna
Hey, you
slap your
can't
shit.
those words in your homework assignment, sir.
Yeah.
I was actually
God,
called...
no cussing.
Sorry. I was
What the
actually...
guys?